All right, welcome to Crushing Brevard. Today we're going to flip the script a little bit and we're getting Steve Carter in front of the camera. And I'm Chris Spears. I'll be asking him questions. Basically just detail some things. He's a retired engineer and pursued his passion to own a restaurant someday. And we're in it.
Yeah.
Crush 11.
Yeah.
Beautiful downtown Melbourne. And it's a great story because what I find in common with a lot of our guests is no matter what their level of success they'd attained, it just wasn't gratifying work.
Yeah.
So they chase after risky ambitions and end up on the good side of life, being their own boss and doing what they like to do. So I know you bounced around a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
So why don't we go back to the 70s or the 80s or whatever era we're
60s,
talking about?
yeah, well, a little bit of the 60s.
Talk about your parents, where you grew up.
Yeah, my parents are from Western Illinois, farm families. My dad was the first, I think both, my grandmother graduated from college and she had a home economics degree. But my parents were, other than that, the first in their families to graduate from college. And my dad went to Iowa, then he got his PhD from the University of Illinois, and then he got a master's in business administration from Rider College out in New Jersey. So, but yeah, we moved around a bunch. He was in ROTC, so he ended up teaching at West Point when he got done with that. And so again, we're in the mid 60s here, and Vietnam's kind of kicking in, and they asked him, they said, hey, you want to have a career in the Army, we can make you a company commander in Vietnam, or you can maybe not have a career in the Army. He's like, no career in the Army sounds pretty good. So he we moved to Philadelphia at that point, and I was there until I was 8 years old. Then we moved down to North Carolina, Chapel Hill, for 2 years, up to New Jersey, Fort Lee, right kind of. Well, we were in Franklin Lakes, but if you go across the river from Manhattan into New Jersey via the George Washington, you end up in Fort Lee, New Jersey, and that's pretty close to where we were.
All right.
And then, so we were there for 3 years, and then I did 8th grade through high school in Barrington, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago, northwest of Chicago by about maybe an hour. And then when I got out of high school, my parents finally settled down, so 3 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and a high school later. They've lived in the same house since 1987, which is the year I graduated from high school. So, and that's up in Stillwater, Minnesota. So I spent 30 years. I went to the University of Illinois, got an electrical engineering degree from there, and I have a master's in business administration from Minnesota, night school. Don't really have a lot of ties. So they lost the hockey championship the other day. I'm like, oh, that's too bad. I wasn't really broken up by it. Where if Illinois basketball loses, I'm in a funk for a week. So yeah, we got done with school, got a job up in Minnesota, and it just stuck. So for those of you who've never seen snow, they have a lot of it. They still have snow on the ground as of it's April 10th, and there's still snow on the ground there. There was 70 the other day, and I talked to my parents. I'm like, "Oh, let's get rid of the snow," and they're like, "No, not a chance." So
knock it down.
So there's a lot there. Apparently, somebody put there's a pile of snow from the snowplow truck somewhere. I don't know exactly where. I think it was Eden Prairie, but let's say it was Eden Prairie. And some kid took a Target shopping cart and put it on top of it, and it's probably 60 feet off the ground.
Jeez.
Right now. Yeah, it's weird. So they had a lot of snow this year. They were getting 10, 12 inches as of like last week. So it's brutal up there. So I did started working in making printed circuit boards, and I did that for about 12 or 13 years. That all went to kind of China or the Far East. None of that manufacturing is here anymore, other than some real specialty stuff. So,
well, military work.
Yeah, we did a bunch of military work. We made the board that you stuck it in the mortar round that attaches the M16, and it counts how many revolutions it's taken, which tells you how far it's gone. And so if you have an open window 100 yards away and there are bad guys in there, you just set it to 102 yards and pop it through the window, and 6 feet in, it goes boom.
Surprise!
Exactly. So you can't hide behind walls anymore, that kind of stuff. But
that's awesome.
Some stuff for some circuit boards on the landmines that we make that run on batteries so they don't blow up 4 years later or something like that.
We made all the fun stuff.
We made some interesting stuff.
Dismembers people.
I made some stuff that they couldn't tell me what it was. Like, they couldn't tell me what it did.
You're just sectioned off working on this.
Yeah, no, like here, build this board, but they can't tell me what it goes into.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a problem, and I'm like, well, is it an air condied or is it out? And we can't tell you. Where is it in space or is it? We can't tell you.
So you're just building it on
I
tolerance.
can't help you. Yeah, exactly. I'm building it to spec, right? And it has to meet the spec. But
wow.
Once the first thing went wrong, I couldn't help them because I didn't have a security clearance, so I couldn't tell them.
That has to be fascinating work for a young guy.
Oh, it was great. And
I
travel around all over the place, and I was sort of, even at like 26 or 27, I was sort of the expert in what I was doing. So that, like, for example, I flew to Frankfurt, Germany, and I was the lead speaker of the conference that the company I had gave.
At not yet 30.
I was 29. Yeah.
Subject matter expert.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We stayed in the hotel that Bill Clinton stayed at when he was in Germany. So it was like a nice place.
Yeah.
These guys, a bunch of smart guys in this company. And they're like, yeah, Steve, you lead us off. I'm like, okay. So it was kind of cool to
put a lot on a young man's shoulders.
Just to be the guy. It's good to be the guy, right? So, but that all went away. So we went to, after that I got a job at Medtronic in med device. It's huge up in Minnesota. There's all the big companies are up there. Anybody who makes a pacemaker pretty much was headquartered in Minnesota at some point.
Okay.
So Boston Scientific, which was Guidant, Medtronic, Covidien, which was Medtronic, and Abbott, which was St. Jude. So all the big device people were up there, and I worked for Medtronic for 12 years. Worked for Abbott for 6. Bounced around. I went to Smiths Medical, which was another smaller med device company. They do external stuff. Really interesting stuff. Real impactful. Help a lot of people, but very corporate-y. And like when I was at my last job in circuit boards, I reported to the plant manager. The plant manager reported to the vice president. The vice president reported to the CEO. So I knew the CEO of a company that sold $16 billion a year.
Wow.
He invited me to his house. Like I was close enough. I was far enough up the food chain that people.
Well, they leaned on you clearly.
Yeah,
you were an integral part of them being profitable.
In med device, 3 levels above me didn't even know what I did, and we were nowhere near anybody who had a C in front of their title. So it was kind of it's frustrating a lot of times when you get to that situation where I was doing some specialty stuff. I was doing kind of supplier qualification and evaluation, things like that. And people think that I'm dealing with components. I didn't deal with the components then. So it was kind of strange. I was in a niche situation where it was one of these things that everybody just hoped it went well. And the first time something went wrong, they're like, well, how could that possibly happen? And even when it wasn't my group, sometimes my group got blamed. It was a very strange situation.
Yeah.
And I was frustrated, and I'm coming home every day kind of just complaining to my wife that, just like, oh, this guy did this, this guy did this, and this guy did that, and this guy did this, and this guy did that. And 2 years ago, my buddy went to Las Vegas for the NCAA basketball tournament and just died in his hotel. And about that same time, I'm coming home, and my wife is like, you get one ride around the roller coaster, and you don't seem to be liking yours. Like, what can we do differently, And I'm like, I want to live at the beach. She's like, then go live at the beach. We're doing okay. Let's go figure out how to live at the beach.
Yeah.
And I took it to heart, and I started looking for things to do down here. I'm not really, I did the radical, really sneaky thing of Googling businesses for sale in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of shocking. And people ask me all the time how I found this place, and then when I tell them, they're like, "You're kidding me." I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and I started looking at places. I came down to Tampa for a couple places. I knew I didn't want to live in Miami. It's a little too fast paced and orange and yellow and lime green for me. I guess I don't know if that makes any sense, but I'm not a flashy guy.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be up in Jacksonville. Tampa was okay. Naples would have been a little. I don't know. It's kind of. I've been to all the places, and you just kind of. I wanted something a little more laid back and a little more Midwesterny, if that makes any sense.
Like kind of bigger city amenities, but not the traffic and the homelessness and the crime.
Yeah.
Just kind of like a chill place with a lot to do.
Yeah, but not like that much to do. Like Miami has a lot to do, but
Tampa's so spread out.
Yeah.
So I want places where it's like everything's a 5-10 minute deal.
So I ended up over here. I think it was late January or early February last year. And I ate at the restaurant, loved everything about it. Like, loved the look of it, loved the menu, loved the food, loved the drinks, loved the location, loved everything about it.
Yeah.
The town's cool. Like, if you haven't been here, give it a try. I mean, even if you stay in Cocoa, you're like, oh, I'm going to go to Cocoa. Come down for a day and just walk around and, check out the beach down here, and the area down here is really cool.
Yeah, the service style in Cocoa is kind of like next because it's so touristy.
Yeah,
They're like all burnt out on serving you.
Yeah, and there's not a lot
here,
of
tourist or local or regular.
Yeah,
treat you the same.
Yeah,
I go into a place for the first time and I feel like I've been going for 5 years because they know my name already and they're just super accommodating.
Right, there's a couple people that come in here all the time, and I'm like, hey, do you live around here? Like, no, I live in Texas, but I come here every time I come here for business. I'm like, oh, okay. So head on down and check it out. It's awesome. But yeah, I love the place. Brought my wife down to check it out. We found a house, and everything just kind of fell into place,
Tell me a little about the Melbourne Beach area where you live, because like Melbourne and Melbourne Beach, it's kind of like Cocoa and Cocoa Beach.
Yeah.
They're miles apart, and it's a different vibe.
Well, there's a couple towns in between the two, which seems weird, but that's the part that throws me off. It's like if you have Melbourne and Melbourne Beach, you'd think Melbourne Beach would be right across the causeway, but that's India.
I always thought I was in Melbourne Beach when I was in India Land.
Yeah, no,
I'm wrong.
You got to go another 5 miles south of there.
It's really isolated, so that makes it really low crime.
Yeah, really
low traffic.
Yeah, and it's there's one road in and out. If you don't take A1A, they close A1A one night, and there was an accident on A1A. I couldn't get home, so I just turned around and went to the Oasis bar and sat there and watched football until I could get back to my house. It's nice. It's a third of a mile from the river to the ocean.
Yeah.
So no matter where you live, you're real close to water.
Mm-hmm. You back up to the river. I've been to your house.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
We have. I love it, but
solve the mosquito thing. We're gonna plant some lavender, and I'm gonna
solve the mosquito and solve the original cabinetry and we got some updating to do in the house. But
killer bones though, with the second floor overlooking the living room, sunset.
Yeah, you get a view. Yeah. You get a view of the river from every room except for the guest bedroom. Yeah, because we don't want those people to stay that long.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So
they get a brick wall.
Right. They can come downstairs.
So restaurant. I'm sorry. To double back, you told me your parents owned a really successful restaurant in Stillwater, Minnesota.
Well, no, that was in Hudson. Yeah, but it's Hudson, Wisconsin. It's right across the river. So.
Did that plant the seed early? They're like, you know what? Someday when I retire or something, or my shift
comes not really.
In
fact, my parents asked me if I wanted to invest in it, and I laughed at them. Literally laughed at them. I'm like, you kidding me? Like, why would you buy a restaurant? Like, that's so dumb. In fact, that came up with
high risk.
When I got this one, my kids were like, I thought you said buying a restaurant was dumb. I'm like, it was for my parents.
In Minnesota.
No, I mean, and it was a nice place. It was right on. Well, you could see the river from the deck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was really nice.
2 months a year.
That's part of the problem. But yeah, no, they had owned a restaurant, and my family had a lot of restaurant experience. My brother was a restaurant manager, general manager for Ruth's Chris for a bunch of years and other places.
So it's in your DNA a little bit to be around it.
Kids were all in it. I was in it for a while when I was younger, so it's just, I don't know, it's fun. I have fun when I come in here every day, and hopefully that comes across when people come in. I'm here, Tuesday through Saturday. So if you see me around the restaurant, say hi, say you saw me on this. That'd be great to kind of get that kind of feedback. But I mean, I just have fun coming in here. The people are great. I no worries about taking any dish to anybody because I know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
So you ask people how the food is, and you already know it's going to be good. So it's easy to do. I just have a great time here. So I like the place.
And you're a hustler. I've got a lot of bar experience, and I have worked for the best and for the laziest, worst owners. Whether they want to sit at the bar and drink all night and boss people around in the middle of a rush.
Yeah.
You're the antithesis of that. You're out there wherever an owner needs to fill in, we're short on dishes. Oh, I'm going to knock out some glassware. I'm going to run some food, work the expo, bus tables, seat people, answer the phones. Yeah. Because as an owner, you have that flexibility to run around and fill in the holes real time.
You have
That's
to.
How you run.
You have to be the guy. And then when you run out of things to fill in, you go home.
Exactly.
It's nice.
No side work or anything.
Right, exactly. If I don't want to roll silverware, I don't have to roll silverware.
Exactly.
I do. I like roll silverware.
You do it the right way, though. So
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Yeah, and it's easy to do because the people here work so hard to begin with. We want to be a destination for people who work in restaurants around here. We want to be, hey, I want to get enough experience that I can go work at Crush 11
and make that money.
They do okay.
Yeah,
they do okay. So, but that was the first thing I said the first day when I met the staff. I said, listen, I want to have the best restaurant in town in the county. I want to have the best paid bar staff. I want to have the best paid servers. I want to have the best paid cooks. I want to have the best paid owner. But we have to have certain things are going to have to happen for that to happen. And I think that's where my business degree comes in, is because it's in operations. So it's more around structure and accountability and fail-safing stuff. And I haven't done a ton of that, but where I've kind of reached in and touched places is to kind of work on things like that here. So
well, you have the least amount of turnover of any restaurant I've seen in the area.
Yeah,
you treat people right.
Well,
they stick around, and they're making money.
We try. You just do what, like you said. I mean, if you're making good money and you're working with good people and you're proud of the product you're bringing out, it makes it a lot easier to keep people around. The people we lose they move to Boston, or one moved to Arizona, one moved to Boston.
And maybe they're leveling up to like their professional.
One of my servers got a job at the Pentagon as a financial auditor. I mean,
and he left here for that.
I know the nerve, Kenny. Come on. If you see this, Kenny, you made a huge mistake. I don't know. No, we love Kenny. We hope he comes back down here pretty soon. But he was great. But yeah, I mean, how do you say you can't be disappointed in that? I mean, the guy's an awesome server, but we've got a job at the Pentagon. So no, we like our staff. We try to treat them right. We try and do right by them. As a manager, I've always said you can't mess with two things. You can't mess with people's pay. The check better show up when you say it's going to show up. If you promise them some money, you better deliver on it. And you can't mess with people's vacation. So if they ask for time off and you say it's okay, that is written in stone.
Work-life balance.
Figure it out beyond that. Figure it out with the people who said they want to work that day. If you've already told them they can have that day off. So that gets you 90% of the way there. And then it's just treating people right. So, but
because the post-COVID climate, it's like as a restaurant owner, you're very competitive to keep people working because there's a little shortage of labor right now.
It's I
don't know if everyone's an Uber driver or everybody is on Etsy, but like everybody's hiring.
No, there's you drive around, you see signs, and every restaurant who has a sign has a thing out saying, "Hey, by the way, we could use some help with X, Y, or Z."
Yeah. So when I see the guy at the off ramp, I mean, hey, I don't know everybody's story, but like they're hiring.
Yeah.
I'll give you $1, but it's not going to change anything.
Yeah, we don't have positions really other than we can train a host in, but we want servers to probably have experience before they get here.
Oh, yeah.
We'd like to have, the cooks definitely have to have experience before they
get
here.
There's the big leagues, man. It's not TGI Fridays.
Right.
We're just gonna,
we're not. This is not McDonald's. This is not where you learn that your job is to show up on time and do kind of what they tell you to do.
This is I want to make hundreds of a shift, and I have experience, so I'm getting called up to the big time. The big time.
Yeah. Well,
you don't just walk in Shark House or here or the landing rooftop with no experience.
Right. It just
you're getting compensated for your experience.
Yeah, you get laughed at a little bit when you walk in the door and you're like, hey, I want to be a server, but I've not. Although we have one of our better guy named Emery who started here last year. He walked in the door and he's like, I don't have any experience, but I know I can do it. Just give me a shot. And he talked us into it. He's great. So you run. There's exceptions to every rule, but
when you have that desire, a guy that wants it that bad.
It's written all over his face how hard he wanted to work and how much he wanted to be here. So, give him a shot. So, we love our people, and if you want to work here, I'm not trying to discourage you to come by, drop off a resume, and we'll talk to you about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And if you're not a right fit right now, you might be in a year, you might be in 6 months, we might say, hey, you just need a little more experience doing whatever. So. Yeah,
I mean, I have no bandwidth to work at a bar because I'm busy, playing drums and running my own business. But there's a couple people like the Bat Cave guys who are here. I would almost pick up one night a week just to like enjoy the atmosphere and like interact with people. I do miss bartending just with the interaction with people.
Yeah, so I bartended back in the day, but my bartending experience is basically The place I was at was a nightclub slash football field sized deck slash restaurant. So when it was going full bore on a holiday weekend with the nightclub open, you could have 17 bartenders working at the same time. I mean, just like, so it's volume. And it's just volume. It's not...
The rest Bud Light, it's wine, it's Jack and Coke.
Yeah, I said
no muddler.
If your description of your drink didn't include all the ingredients, then I didn't know how to make it. So if you want a vodka and 7, I can do that. If you want a 7 and 7, you want a whiskey and Coke, I can do that. You go to, well, a screwdriver I can handle, but I mean, you go to like, you know, I want a martini. At that point, I'd be like, I don't have any vermouth.
Like you slide over and like, hey Bill, get this martini.
Yeah, well, I don't have any vermouth and I don't have any time to figure out the other 14 other things because everybody wants their martini their own way, right? Which is fine, especially here. And our bartenders will take care of you. Yeah. That's not a problem. I'm just saying my experience, I wasn't that guy.
And I'm that guy, you know what, when I walk into a bar and they're just balls to the wall, super slammed, man, I'm gonna get a beer or something simple.
Oh no!
You're like, hey man, pull out the mint leaves and shit. It's like, dude, you're throwing their game off.
Oh, not here. I think here that's fine. We've got great craft cocktails. They're used to it. Yeah. And it's not a big enough place that you can really bury 2 people back. You can get a little behind, but you know. But the third person can usually jump in to do, like, I can pour wine and beer and
take the simple off their plate.
Take orders and run. Yeah, so. Yeah, take the simple off their plate so they can do the fancier stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying, like, my experience in bartending was not this.
Yeah, we're gonna get you a beer tub chick.
Yeah,
to handle the overflow.
Yeah, or just me.
Budweiser bikini out
there. It might not fit with. Anyway, that's okay.
Yeah, just kidding.
Probably not. Yeah,
that's more a place with, like, you know, a stadium in the logo or something. Sports bar.
Yeah, exactly.
Biker bar.
No.
Yeah, I don't think the bikini bike wash is like crushing.
No. We don't have any hoses outside, so that wouldn't work anyway.
Let's backtrack. I think one of the coolest stories of someone meeting their wife.
Okay.
I have ever heard in my entire life. So
I'm not sure.
Your wife is adorable.
Yeah.
She's one of my wife's best friends, and I mean, she's vacationed with us. We're putting vacation plans in the works right now as 2 couples because. You guys are a delight. We have fun anywhere we could be at an insurance seminar and have a good time with the Carters.
Well, let's not go that far, but yeah. No, I appreciate that. No, I'm going to do my best, honey. So if you're watching this, my apologies for
like and subscribe, honey.
Right, exactly. Links in the description. So my wife knew my family before I met her. So my dad hired her dad. He was in sales. And he used his company as an outside salesperson and wanted to bring him inside. So brought him in as inside sales at the company that he was running. So they would go on sales meeting trips to the Bahamas or somewhere nice wherever salespeople have meetings, and he would take his whole family, and my dad would ship us off to the grandparents. So, or leave us at home. I mean, like, we just never went. Like, it wasn't even an option. Like, he didn't want to deal with me. So, which is fine. I mean, that was great. I got a week away. My grandparents were that great. Anyway, so she met my parents and knew them, and she had huge blonde hair, wore bikini everywhere. She was Bikini Becky right to the end. I had met her dad once. He came into town, or we went to a Timberwolves game together. So it was me, my dad, and my future father-in-law all sat in a row. Okay, so I sort of met him. She knew my parents. And then my dad ended up firing her dad. So
awkward.
Yeah, a little bit, but it didn't matter because I didn't know him, so it's fine, right? So she comes back from college. She's going to Hudson, Wisconsin. She's talking to her mom. She's like, I want to go out, but there's nowhere to go. And they're like, what are you talking about? There's plenty of places. Like, well, there's a motorcycle bar. There's a place that has the knife fights at the end of the night all the time. And there's Sunsets. And she goes, we'll go to Sunsets. And she said, well, Mom, we said we'd never give that family any more money because that's the one the Carters own. And Mom goes, go ahead. We won't tell your dad.
Small town, small options.
You go ahead. We won't tell your dad. Okay. And Hudson's a great place now. It's got 100 places to go. So if you're
ever is that directly across?
It's like 10 miles south. 10 miles south and
other side of the river.
Other side of the river.
All right.
So it's the place. Yeah, it's the place my parents owned. I happened to have an interview that night for a job in Hong Kong. So I'm a full suit and tie,
Just killing it.
25 years old, as good as I can look. I mean, let's just leave it at that. And I'm meeting a friend there. I said I'd meet you at Sunsets after she got done with her shift. It wasn't a date or anything. We're just gonna hang out. And I'm sitting there and I'm waiting, and I see her across the bar. I'm like, wow,
Smoking.
she's gorgeous, like holy. And she's talking to a buddy of mine, and she gets up and leaves, and he waves me over, and I'm like, hey, what's up? He goes, oh, I got this girl I want to introduce you to. And I literally told him, forget it, out of my league. Not even close. Like, I'm not going to waste your time or my time or her time or anybody's time. He's like, no, she's cool. Don't worry about it. She came back. We started talking. Everything's going great. Having a good conversation. She's pretending to think I'm funny. It's nice. It's all good. And
You're funny-ish.
yeah, I'm funny. I try.
Like the Diet Coke of funny.
Right. So we... my friend suddenly goes, oh, Rebecca, I thought you said you'd never come in here. And I said, well, why is that? And she said, well, because the effing son of a bitch that owns this place fired my dad. And I said, oh, okay. I'm like, well, here, we hadn't gotten the last names yet. I'm like, here, took out my driver's license. I'm like, here's my driver's license. She looks at it. She looks at me. She looks back at it. She's like, ugh. Starts walking away.
Now, do you resemble your father?
Yeah, but
tall.
Yeah, well, he's 6'3". I'm 6'5", but I look a little. There's a resemblance there. I think when she put Carter and then looked back up and then she's like, oh,
Like, oh, looks like a younger guy that fired my dad.
Oh. So anyway, she starts walking away, and I track her down. I'm like, that's between our parents.
That was just over. She saw your name.
Oh yeah, she's just like, oh geez. Well, you mean call this guy's parents the son of a bitch, you know? Anyway, yeah, it's hard to recover from that. But no, so I tracked her down, like, between our parents. I like you, you like me. We're just dating. It's not. I'm just hanging out. Yeah. Man, I'd like to take you out tomorrow night. She's like, okay. So she gets home.
Broke the ice.
She gets home. Yeah, well, definitely huge icebreaker. So she got home to her mom. Her mom's like, hey, how'd it go? Good. So she's like, well, I met a boy. It's like, oh, really? Yeah, Steve Carter. And her mom, like, straight-laced Baptist, you know, drinking. Maybe occasionally, dancing, maybe not, you know, one of those kind of people, looks at her and goes, 6 or 3 billion men in the world, and you have to run into that guy? But her dad was okay with it because I wasn't my brother. My brother had a little reputation to him, and I was okay.
What was your brother's reputation? Because I know you're one of the nicest dudes I've ever met, and you said he would just kind of mentally abuse you. And,
I wouldn't say that. He just,
kind of a dick.
I think he was always trying to be funny, and it wasn't easy for him. And then that came across as insulting a lot of times.
Yeah, when he didn't have that grasp on sarcasm, so the tone, the inflection just came off.
I mean, he and I were okay. You know, we didn't spend a ton of time together.
Real competitive growing up between you two?
Not really. No, just. But yeah, it's just kind of, we were kind of different people, which is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. He passed away. Gosh, it's been 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it'd be 12 years in November. So he's been gone for a while. My father-in-law ended up passing away at 51. My daughter wasn't yet 1. She's 26 now. So it's been a couple minutes there.
Touch on the kids as well. You have amazing children.
Thank you. Three children, Cassandra, Maya, and Jackson. Cassandra is going to be 26 here in 2 weeks. Maya's 24, and Jackson's 21. And Cassandra works as a server and bartender at Ruth's Chris. Kind of followed in her uncle's footsteps there, which is good. And I gotta say this about my brother. Like he was such an influence. There's so many people that work at Ruth's Chris forever. So there's half the people who currently work at Ruth's Chris worked with my brother. Okay. Which is insane.
Money's good. They have benefits.
Oh yeah, so they just never leave. It's another destination place, right? Yeah. So yeah, my daughter went in there to apply, and they said, "Oh, we're not hiring." And then. I forget who it was. I don't think it was me, but somebody said, just call your Aunt Shelley, my brother's widow. Yeah, and see if she knows anybody there still. And so Cassandra calls up Shelley and says, hey, Aunt Shelley, do you know anybody at Bruce Chris, I went in there and they said they didn't have anything. And she goes, oh yeah, I know everybody. Like, so she calls them up. She's like, yeah, there's a Cassandra Carter that's a Carter.
Yeah.
And they're like, is it a Carter or a Carter? And he goes, that's Jeff's niece. He goes, that's a Carter.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll bring her in and give her a shot. And and she got a shot and she's making the most of it. She's killing it. So
well, and your kids are all so sharp, so smart,
so
hardworking.
Yeah.
Like, you and Rebecca really instilled your values into your children and your vocal talent and things like that.
Well,
Steve is an incredible vocalist.
My wife can't sing, so.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, honey. She says if there's not more than 50 people singing, if there's more than 50 people singing, she's great because she adds volume. She's been on stage. She's been in choruses and stuff like that.
Theater.
Yeah. So she always undersells it, and then I jump on it, and then she's like, "Why did you insult me?" I'm like, "Oh, I thought we were insulted. We were both insulting you." But
I gotta say, your wife is so
she's
elegant.
so good at everything.
She carries herself like she's on camera.
Right.
If I didn't know her, I would just be like, "That's somebody famous," because she has that air about her of just kind of regal qualities.
Yeah. No, I can see that. Yeah. No, she's
thoughtful, gorgeous, well-spoken, confident.
Yeah, kind, conversational, everything. I'm very happy with my choice.
Well, the second I met you, and you're like, you're gonna love my wife, and I'm like, wow, that's the coolest couple I know.
Oh, thank you. Middle daughter Maya teaching math in high school.
All right.
And my son is a cook at they call it the Bunny Company because all the restaurants that he works at are named after. Well, one's the Wild Hare and one's the Velveteen, so they're all kind of rabbits.
All right.
I don't know what the actual name of the company is, but they just started a third one. I don't think he has to work up there yet, but yeah. So he's the head cook at like a couple days a week, I think, where he goes in. He's the senior guy.
Okay, at 21.
Yeah.
All right, he's getting it.
Yeah. So no, I'm proud of all of them. They're great kids, and they weren't too much trouble growing up.
Yeah, I walked into my wife's office the other day, and she was listening to Cassandra's release on Spotify. Maya's release on Spotify, and it was, I didn't know what she was listening to.
Yeah.
She's like, what do you think of this? I'm like, man, that gal got some pipes. Like, that's really good. It's like, it's the Carter's kid that we met over Christmas. I'm like, get out of here.
She's
we saw her doing karaoke at Lou's. Yeah. Both those kids just nailed it.
Jackson needs a little work. He's enthusiastic. I like that about him. But yeah, no, Maya's pretty polished. She performs in like coffee shops and stuff like that.
Right.
So she's got some people she plays with on a regular basis up there. But she's like, I mean, she plays piano, harp, saxophone, bassoon,
virtuoso,
ukulele, keyboards. You know, she's done. She can put music out on a whole bunch of different stuff. The harp is cool. The kid sits in the window and they call it the harp house in the neighborhood because no one else has a harp because why would you, right? So she'll sit there and play. She plays Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train on the harp. It's the coolest thing you've ever heard in your life.
I want to hear that.
So
she should have a YouTube channel just playing all the stuff. She did some subs.
Well, that'd be good. Yeah, the one song I think your wife was probably listening to is Kalamazoo, which there's some guy in Belgium that listens to it like 12 times a day. You can track that stuff on. Yeah, who's listening? It's just one farmer in Belgium just loves her stuff, so he just listens to it constantly, which is cool. No, I'm proud of all of them. They're really good. They're really good and good kids, and like I said, didn't cause me too much headache. And
and it's fun, especially when you have like smart, fun to hang out with young adults like that.
Yeah.
And my kid Evan just turned 21.
Yeah.
Took him to New Orleans.
He's great to hang
out. Your wife went along. We had a blast. It was a bunch of old people and a bunch of his friends. He's an EMT, so they're all nurses or firemen and all that. So, and he's the youngest of the whole group, so it's really raised his maturity level up. Not only the scope of responding first on scene to tragedies and medical emergencies, but hanging around with a bunch of 30-years. Like, he carries himself like he's 30.
Yeah. Well, you kind of...
And he has a seat at the adult table now. So when he was 18, he's like, this Wi-Fi sucks, I'm bored, are you guys really just going to sit here and drink beer all day? And we're like, yes. And now he can sit around and drink beer all day with us because he's an adult.
It's an acquired taste. Yeah, he did well. Yeah. No, he's a great kid. We hung out with him yesterday for Easter. That was awesome.
Absolutely.
That was awesome to hang out with the Loomises and you guys. That was great.
So any of these kids, any of your children have any desire to ever move down here to the palm trees?
Zero.
They're not tired of the winter yet?
I don't know. I guess not. Cassandra bought a house, so she's locked in up there.
Because if I had parents that moved here and I lived in Minnesota,
Yeah.
You're like, all right, I'm gonna stay with you for a few months and
Yeah.
find my own place.
Yeah, and then,
but I'm going.
Yeah, well,
especially when it's like January. I'm like,
figure
I'm
it
out
out.
of here.
Yeah, well, that would. Yeah, I mean, and you know, my wife would love that. So we'll see. It's not like we told them. We didn't tell them they can't come.
Yeah.
We just didn't tell them they had to because they're adults. They don't have.
And
to.
it's also, I think, important for young people to take jobs 3,000 miles away, like live different places, travel the country, travel the world, but you got to know America.
Yeah.
I mean, America's so many different cultures.
Oh yeah, it's
you take a guy from San Diego to Brooklyn to Utah to Texas,
Alaska.
Those are a lot of different places.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's weird that we're one country a lot of times because there's so many different
100
things going
subcultures.
On. Right.
I've been to like swamp, like Houma, Louisiana.
Yeah.
And I'm from Missouri, a little twang, and the longer I stay in the South, I say y'all more and kind of talk slower.
Yeah.
But man, I could barely understand what these swamp people were saying.
Oh, we
like
travel.
that Cajun.
Oh yeah, it's hard
like, hey,
to.
boy, I'm like, come again?
Can you write it down for me?
Probably not. Overalls. But another story, another day.
I know.
So they're not coming to Florida anytime soon. Haven't expressed an interest. Your children?
No, I mean they came down for Christmas. Two of them did. The one came down, and Cassandra, the oldest one, came down earlier than that, just by herself. They had a good time when they were here.
No wow factor of like, man, this is awesome.
Well, I mean, when my son and daughter were down here, it was the 3 days over Christmas that it was 38 degrees or something.
Yeah.
So it was cold.
I hear she likes that hoodie I gave her. So.
Yeah, she appreciated
She'll
that.
get more use of it
She
than I
appreciated.
will.
Oh, absolutely.
That's my heaviest coat. It's like hoodies.
This is Maya. She had a training thing. She's doing a backpacking guide over the summer, and she went to a training thing in California and landed in San Jose, Santa Clara area, and it was 38 degrees.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, it's you. Stay away.
Bringing it with her on
We'll come visit you in the cold place when it's cold. That way it will disguise it. But yeah, don't just you bring the cold. It's weird how quickly you get. I mean, I've completely forgot what ice and snow are. It's awesome.
Oh yeah. Well, the first month we were in Orlando,
Yeah.
it was a heat index of 107 every day.
Yeah.
So the first time it dropped down to like 75 in November or something, I was cold.
Oh.
Because it was 98 and felt like 107.
Yeah.
75 and breezy and cloudy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need a hoodie, dude. Like I'm wearing my shorts and my tank top. I'm like, this ain't working, man.
I haven't gotten there yet. I mean, when it gets chilly here, I'll put on a sweatshirt. But I mean, chilly here is like 45, 50. So.
And I love the winter here where it's 77 and doesn't rain every day.
Right.
I love dropping the top or riding the Harley. And, we're out by the pool because it doesn't close. You're not getting in.
Yeah.
The tourists are getting in because they just got in from Stillwater, Minnesota.
Right.
Like, wow, it's 77.
Look, there's no ice on that thing. Look, let's go. Yeah. I haven't been in a pool in ages. No, just the ability to just go to the beach and throw a tent up and drag a cooler out there and spend 4 or 5 hours just staring at nothing and listening to the waves. And it's awesome. It's awesome. So, love it.
As the owner of Crush 11, this is regarded as most people's favorite destination for like a wedding or anniversary, a special occasion.
Yeah.
Although I consider happy hour once or twice a week a special occasion.
Right.
So I swing by.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So that you're doing really well in your first year owning Crush 11, has that sparked any future interest in perhaps acquiring another concept or opening an additional location, maybe 5-10 years, whatever?
I mean, I like what we got going on here. I've said this before. If I could clone the staff, no problem. Like I could open these everywhere. It would just be hard to replicate that part of it. I mean, replicating the menu and replicating the drinks and but replicating the feel of the place and replicating the people that are behind it is to me a huge obstacle that I'm not sure I want to try to overcome. I'm real happy doing this. I don't feel like I need to be a Melbourne / Cocoa Beach / Vieira / Vero Beach / Orlando type of place.
Yeah.
But I never say no to anything. If you'd asked me 3 years ago, what would I be doing for the rest of my life? I would tell you I'd be working in a cube until I was 62 and then go into retirement and then,
Thinking about ways to hang myself in my cubicle.
No, I mean, I've always said that like that was me. And then one day it just wasn't. And I just encourage people that if you gotta you get a little itch you want to scratch, and you feel like you can make it happen, and you talk to a bunch of people. I mean, I talked to a bunch of people in the industry that I knew up in Minnesota before I did this. I talked to, I watched both Bar Rescue for the comedic value, but also the bigger picture thing. Yeah. Like, it turns out that most of those guys, don't make it because the owner sits at the end of the bar and drinks.
Yeah.
So maybe I just shouldn't sit at the end of the bar and drink. Maybe I should actually get up and work and understand how the business works. And a guy named Ryan Brumfin, who's called the Restaurant Boss. He's got a great web presence and a lot of free stuff where he teaches you all about different pitfalls and tips and tricks and things like that.
It's better to learn from others' $1 million mistakes.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, but it doesn't have to be a restaurant. I mean, if you want to open a jewelry store, or you want to open an olive oil store, or you want to become a real estate agent, or you just want to do something.
I've always said you could be just 1 year away from being on the path to your dream.
Right, and
1 year, start doing it yesterday.
I mean, there's some stuff that takes education.
Yeah.
And then there's a ton of stuff that doesn't. It just, especially, there's so many small businesses you could run that you don't need a college education. You don't need any education. You just need to, that's what YouTube is for.
Just start doing it.
I mean, 20 years ago, if the hood of my wife's car, the piston went out. The pistons went out, so it doesn't stay up anymore. It'll fall down. 20 years ago, we'd all taken it to the dealership.
Yeah.
Now, YouTube video, Amazon, I'm gonna fix it tomorrow.
Yep.
Like it's gonna take me 10 minutes. It saved myself a couple $100.
Oh, my kid put a turbo on his car and springs and suspension with the laptop right there and some tools.
But you can learn so much about so many different things depending on what you're interested in. Just be interested in it and then go do it.
Yeah, I read books and I'm watching YouTube videos on how to learn new software on a daily basis because I'm almost 50.
Right.
Everything I do, none of this technology existed when I got out of college.
Right, right.
So I self-taught myself how to code and build websites and do all that stuff because in 90-something, and the internet was barely there.
Yeah, but that's a perfect example. You decide you want to do it, you went and learned how to do it, you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't pay anybody $10,000 a year to teach how to do it, or $100,000 a year, or whatever freak it costs at this point. It's crazy. But no, it's I love it here. That's the nice part about the job, is that it doesn't feel like a job. When I leave the house to come here, I don't have anywhere near the same feeling I did at the other place. Yeah. And I just love that people come here for anything between their 25th wedding anniversary to a 50th birthday party, to a kid's birthday party, to a Tuesday just hanging out at the bar.
Do a lot of corporate.
Oh, we have a room in the back that does about 30 people, and call us up. In fact, go to check out the website, link in the description. That has information on merchandise, has information on getting events, and our event coordinator is, you can get a hold of her there.
Yeah, you have some cool merch now, like wine tumblers, hoodies,
like the crop top thing. People are liking that. So and it's easy to get now too. It's not asking your server and then when they have time they go dig through a box in the back. You did a great job setting that up. So we appreciate it here. Gift cards you can get there. So if you come in for a happy hour and you're like, my kid would love this place or my parents would love this place, knock one of those out and have them come in. We love to have people come in who are on a gift card. They're not here to spend a lot of money, but they got a gift card and they want to have a good experience. And we love to have those people because they're going to have money someday, and we want them to think of us when they do. So
and it's a great gift for younger people that are out there grinding and can't really afford a nice dinner out. Right. It's a great gift to the next generation that's not there yet.
Anywhere, even if you're watching this, like if you're up in Minnesota watching this because you know me, or you're in St. Louis because you know Chris, do that for them there. Do that for the young people that you have there. Get them a gift card to a nice place. Yeah. And have them have nice experiences. And then gives them something to shoot for. Like, hey, I like this. I want to be able to do this once a week. I can't, but I want to be able to do that. What do I got to do to make that happen? So, I've
always looked at guys older than me and more successful when I was coming up. And I'm like, I want to live like that. Yeah. And, you talk to them. And then you end up kind of having mentors. Yeah. And they tell you their path. And it's paved in a lot of sacrifice and hard work.
Well, it turns out that no one really knows what the hell they're doing. Yeah. If you walk around, no one walks in and goes, I'm killing it. Everything's going perfect today. family life's perfect, house is perfect, everything's perfect. I don't have any problems at all, zero problems. I'm just gonna waltz through my day. It just doesn't happen.
I've made $10,000-$20,000 mistakes with my first business.
Yeah.
It's like, that hurts.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so you don't do that again.
Right, but I mean,
it's still risky.
Yeah.
Because you have to assume risk
Yeah.
to be successful.
right, right.
But you got to calculate that to.
You have to make sure that the worst
10
problem
grand
doesn't
isn't my
sink you.
ass, but if
Right.
I lost 200, that's my ass.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But yeah, no, gift cards, merchandise. We have a nice patio if you want to come eat outside. If you're traveling and you're looking up places in Melbourne, things to do, give us a shot. We'd love to take care of you. So
And I'm a train nerd. There's great train watching from this window.
it's right there.
It's
yeah.
50 yards.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
So
And that bright line's going to be zipping
that's
through
gonna
here doing
whip through.
90.
Yeah,
Like, that's going to be nuts.
that'll be interesting. They had one come through. For those of you who don't know, the Bright Line's going from Orlando to basically
Miami.
Miami via Cocoa Beach or the Cape
Yeah,
Canaveral.
basically mirrors the US 1 all the way to Miami.
But that's going to be awesome when that thing flies by here.
Mhm.
That'll be good. So, well, appreciate you having me on.